Okay. So look, unpopular opinion. However, I don't necessarily think that you have to be obsessed to get what you want. Right? There's a lot of talk about you got to be delusional. You have to be obsessed. You have to really put your all into it to get what you want. And some of that may be correct to an extent. However, I don't believe that you pushing yourself to a limit that not only burns you out, but then not allows you to further become more of what you want to be because of that burnout. It's more about being able to keep that consistent aspect of how life goes in general, right? So I got a couple of examples. I got a couple of designs and setups that we can follow. So that way we can have a different way of thinking about how this setup can really be done, right? So the first one, sorry, I'm a little nervous about this. Sinembagro, let me talk to you. You got to think about what you have, right? You have untapped potential to do great things. And it only comes from when you understand what you have. And a lot of us feel that we don't have something good enough to offer, right? However, it's not about what you're able to do that makes it important. It's about what you do with it that makes it important. Because one thing that you may not see as valuable to someone else could be. And that's why it's important to understand what you have. Because coming from a place of obsession to where that you realize, oh, like I want this, I want this, I want this, and not realizing what you already have to obtain it is a wall. You end up blocking off what you want because the thought process of how to get it is so focused that you don't redirect that focus to a state of understanding how you can get there. And that's why it's important to understand what you have. Because if you understand what you have, then you understand how to use it. And if you understand how to use it, then you know where to use it. So if you allow yourself to sit back and grasp those concepts about who you are, what you can do, and where you can implement it, then that gives you a better representation of where you can go next versus you feeling like you stuck at where you are, right? So the second thing is, it was said by Carl Jung that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Beautiful. And that's the best part about this life, because we get to be amazed and inspired to do and become more than our original idea, right? We have all of these concepts about how things work and how things are, and you have all of these talented people, you have all of these amazing people in the world, and you're just like them. You just have to redirect that focus so that way you set yourself up to a point of being able to extend your own possibilities. And that's the best part about it, because through that amazement and that inspiration, it allows you to know that, oh man, if it can be done, then maybe I can do it, right? Because the thing about skill is that, yes, there's natural skill. However, skill is developed. Even people who are naturally talented at something still practice what they're good at, because that's the levels of it. You become better because it only gets better, right? So that's the part about it too, because along with knowing who you are and what you're able to do and where you're able to do it, you can use that same concept of amazement for yourself. You can be amazed by what you know, what you're able to do, and where you can go to do it, even in the face of negativity. Because it exists, it's there, it's gonna happen. And I always say that people and inconveniences exist everywhere. It does not matter where you go, it does not matter who you are. You are going to have to deal with something, or you're going to have to deal with someone. That's just how we do it. It's just life. So even through the negative aspects of how things go, you still get to play a part in that amazement. You get to still do more, even while the rest of the world doesn't want to do anything. And that's a very important thing to pay attention to, because if you allow yourself to be consumed by every negative aspect that the world decides to present about the world, then you fall victim to just that. You never do nothing more because you feel that it can't be done because it's not possible. And I say that everything is impossible until someone does it. So this is where that delusional aspect comes from. And like I say, I don't think you really need to be delusional about it. I think it just comes from a place of effort and execution, which leads us into our next point, that even though motivation and inspiration is good, those are only just the fuel in the tank. They fade. It doesn't last long. It's a feeling, it's a moment. That's why the effort and execution is a lot more important. Of course, you can be inspired to do something. Of course, you can be motivated to go for it. Right after that feeling, it's the momentum and movement that's necessary for you to accomplish what you were going for. Now, the thing about having that form of execution is not letting the procrastination get in the way. And don't use the procrastination as a bad thing. Use the procrastination as the signal that you're supposed to be doing something. That's the whole setup and design of it. That's the whole aspect of what you're able to do through any scenario and situation of what comes your way. So inspiration and motivation fails in the face of adversity. Effort and execution thrives through it, because through effort and execution, it's only just the work. It's only just what you put up, only what you design, only what you do. And then that takes us into our next point, that there's no need for the delusion. What I believe that you could really benefit from is a system. Don't be delusional. Create systems. Don't be obsessed. I would say be more robotic. Because when you obsess over something, your thought process is consumed by it and you think about it normally. Now, that's not a bad thing, because it allows you to keep that focus on what you want. But there's a balance, because once you come from a place of desire and then you are obsessed over something, then you can slip into a form of lack. And working from a form of lack is almost like grabbing water with a fist closed. You want to grab it, but it keeps slipping away, it keeps falling out of your hand. Because it's not about the obsession to handle the water. It's about the motion necessary to hold the water. And if you put yourself in a state of lack, obsession, then you start to operate from a place of, oh, I don't have, so I need. And then that's where this obsessive thought comes from, because now your everyday is filled with, I need to be stronger, I need my coffee, I need to do this, I need to do that. When in reality, it just takes you to understand what you're able to do and then create a system around that, so that way you have something to follow that allows you to become more than what you were. Because when it comes to coming from a place of lack, it makes your inside and your external think, oh man, I'm not good enough because I don't have it. And that's not true. And that's why I say there's no point of being obsessed about something or delusional that it can happen if you're actually doing the things necessary that get you there, right? This is why the systems play such a big part. And this is why I say, don't be obsessed, don't be delusional, be more robotic. Because what is it? What do you do? You turn it on, it works, does what it does, turn it off. So you do the same thing with your system. You get up in the morning, you turn on that system, you get to it, you get to work, check off the list, P's and Q's, dotted I's, cross T's, and then turn it off. And then that way, you come from a place of accountability, right? Oh, accountability. You come from a place of accountability, because then if the system isn't working or you're not following it, then you know where to place the blame. You're able to understand that, oh man, this isn't working because I didn't implement the strategies necessary. Or this system has worked for this amount of time, but it needs an update. And that's where you're able to understand all the points in one. You're able to understand, like, all right, cool, I get motivated and inspired when this happens, so I'm going to use my system for this aspect. And then you tie it back to being amazed and inspired to where that you're able to evolve that system to where that it works better in your favor. And then you're able to know that, oh, this is what I'm able to do. This is how I can operate on my everyday. So then that way you don't leave it to a feeling or an emotion to handle your business. You leave it to the system that you design to handle your business. And that's the best part about it, because there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer for you to go and do what you think is best for a scenario that you're in, because you're the one in it. And no one knows you better than you know you. Don't ever let anyone think that they know you better than you know you. It's not possible. So there's no wrong way to do it. You design it and you set it up the way that you want to have it designed and set up. So that way, once you allow yourself to go through the trials and go through the hypotheses and theories, then you understand why you're doing it, because you're not in it for the celebration or the accomplishment of others. You're in it for the accomplishment of what you design, the system that you follow, the one that creates value for not only you, for the people that you care about and want to do what you want to do for them. And what does it take? We talk about it often. It takes our CDA, our consistent disciplined action. Because coming from a place of obsession and attempting to do things for your body or your mind or your spirit that prolongs that accomplishment doesn't help you. So you having that CDA, that consistent discipline action, allows you to understand, all right, cool, I'm nowhere near in the mood to do this, and I'm really not feeling it. However, there's a system that I follow that allows me to still go through it with that consistency, with that discipline, while I still decide to take action in the face of me not wanting to do it at all. And that's everyday shit, baby. EDS, everyday structure that allows you to not only build something that allows you to become better, however, scale that same thing that allows you to do more. So that's the whole essence of learning, that you don't have to be someone that's, oh, I need this to happen for you to get it. You don't have to be someone that has to think of these crazy outcomes to start going for them, because that's the best part about our imagination. Our imagination allows us to really think about the fact of, oh man, that's possible. So then what do? You work backwards. How do you get to 1 million? How do you get to 1 billion? You work backwards. What systems? What standard operation procedures? What customer acquisitions? What location are you in? Summer, winter. All of these things give you your roadmap to where you want to go. And that's why I say you don't need to wake up every day like, oh, I need this to happen. You don't need to be mapping out, oh yeah, this is how crazy it is. No. It doesn't take any of those things. It takes for you to get up, follow your system, and allow that system to work as you designed it to. And if it doesn't work as you designed it to, restructure it. Law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be destroyed or created. It is only transformed. So that means what you already have is what you need. You just have to be able to transform it into the direction that allows you to accomplish what you're going for. And that's why I say, there's nothing wrong with being obsessed about something. But however, if you're not paying attention to the emotion that you have while you're being obsessed with it, then you can easily confuse your brain that, oh, I don't have this because I'm not good enough to have it. You want to be able to have that same thought process like, oh, I want this. However, this is what I do to follow it. This is the design that's set up that can allow me to meet that goal at a more efficient pace. And that's all it is. It doesn't take you don't have to be someone who, don't get me wrong. I don't say don't go crazy with your dreams. I say that you don't have to be crazy about them for them to become reality. And this is why these little systems every day are important, because it starts with you. It starts with how you decide to think about it. And nothing changes until you actually want it to change. Until you actually sit back and go, all right, you know what? I'm tired. This is what I want, and this is how I'm going to get it. Nothing's going to change. So it takes you to design that system. Like, if you want to be obsessed, then use it correctly. Use it in a way that allows your obsession to be on, all right, this is what I do, this is how it gets done, and this is what I will do every day until it happens. But that doesn't need to come from a place of lack. That just comes from a place of accountability. You know that if you wanted to get stronger before the summer and you don't work out January, February, March, then you probably won't be as strong as you want to be before the summer hits. And if there's a system in place, if you got the workouts written, if you got the body goal right in front of you on a regular basis, if you have the proper eating habits set up for you already, then your system that you follow up until the deadline is what gets you there. Now, do you always get what you want? No. Do you always end up with what you need? Oh yeah. Because if you go for what you want and you don't get it, pay attention to what happened leading all the way up until the moment that you didn't get it. Because then there's something in that system that could be flawed. It could be something in that system that wasn't being paid attention to or did not get the proper attention for it to blossom how it should have. So then that's when you go back. Most of us, follow the system, follow the disciplines, do it, and then don't get the outcome we wanted and consider it a fail. And then we'll never do it again because what's the point, right? Not the way to go. Not the way to have it. Because that's why failure by our definition is faster action in learning. You didn't fail. You had a faster method of learning how to get it done right the next time. However, if you allow yourself to completely shut down or contract when the deadline hits and it didn't go your way, then you will never be able to extend more of those same possibilities that got you on that path in the first place. So that's why it's important to be able to create these systems and follow them. And if you create a system that isn't working, then redesign it. Make it different. Change it around. Sometimes we get so caught in our own comfort zone that we forget that there's so many other aspects and so many other ways that we can go. But the obsession and the focus is just on this thing that this has to be the only way. That's not true. So to be able to understand who you are, what you're able to do, and how you're able to do it and where you're able to do it, leads into the inspiration and the amazement that you can have about how grand this life really is, to where it leads you into the motivation to get something done, followed by your effort and execution to get there. And then you improve that system. You improve that system, you tweak it, you update it, you redesign it, 2.0, 3.0, and you change it to where that it works in the benefit that you set it up in, because you're responsible for your life. I mean, once you get to a certain age, you're responsible for your life. And what you see nowadays is a lot of people walking around not being responsible for their outcome. You got a lot of people blaming external factors. You got a lot of people blaming a system. And in reality, it's not the system that they're blaming. It's the way that they decide to follow. If you're somebody who lives 30 minutes from where you work or go to school, and you leave your house 35 minutes before, and you get caught in traffic, and now you're 20 minutes late, it's not time's fault, traffic's fault, your car's fault, it's yours. It's you placing that accountability on yourself to understand that, all right, cool, I understand that I gotta show up at 5 o'clock, probably right when rush hour is starting. Let me be on my way to work 45 minutes before, 55 minutes before. And then that way, when you get there and you have that little bit of time to get ready, get adjusted, grab whatever you need, you're not scrambling for it. You're not going crazy wanting to handle it. You were already set up. You left early, giving you a proper amount of time to get to where you're going. You arrived there 15 minutes, 20 minutes earlier than what you were supposed to. You allow yourself to get everything packed up. You allow everything, name tag, pens, apron, books, pencils, backpack, and you get everything together to where that once you're finally there, you still got another 5 minutes, little reflecting. Oh man, I really got here. I feel good. I feel ready. Even though I was a little tired this morning, even though I didn't probably eat enough, didn't have enough water, I still feel good that I got here on time. It's these little things that recreate our life. And it's through those little things that allow you to become more than what you are. Because that's where it only gets better come from. That's the whole essence of it. If you're in a position and you don't like it, it only gets better. Because then now you can work at it to where that you can change it. If you're at a position to where that it's already really good, it only gets better. Because now it's really good and you're like, oh man, what else can I do? Where else can I go? How else can I change up the aspects of what I'm doing? And I say that to people regularly, like, another day feeling great, only gets better from here. And people hit me with the, oh man, I hope so. See, now that's coming from a place of lack. You're hoping that you decide to get stronger. You're hoping that you get smarter. You're not actually designing the system that makes that vision reality. And then you will do that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years until you finally wait. However, it doesn't have to take that long. It just takes the systems. So this is the challenge. Whatever you want, whatever you're going for, whatever you're training in, whatever your hobbies are, design the system that keeps you on track with it. If you want to become stronger, then set the workout and do the workout at that time all the time. Don't fluctuate. Do it at that time. Wake up, brush teeth, breathe, box, work out. Do that. Do that long enough to where it eventually compounds into your character. Now you become more responsible, more disciplined, more time oriented. And then that translates into everything. If you've ever heard the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything, that's what that means. Because if you're someone who gets up, gets ready, makes bed, brush teeth, breathes, hydrates, then you translate that same system into your everyday task. Get to work, clock in, get ready, execute, clock out. Like relationships, communicate, be open, understanding, let it flow. It works in all fashions. The thing is, we get so limited on the fact of where we can use it, going back to number one, that we forget that we can pull that information. And one thing that I'll leave you with is the stack principles. The stack principles are individual lessons, individual moments that I'll give you a good example. Mine's are Kaizen, Wabi-Sabi, to where that Kaizen allows you to understand the 1% betterment. You get 1% better every day, 10% better, 20% better. You do something that improves the quality of what you're going for. Wabi-Sabi, to find the beauty and imperfection in everything. So if it's not working, be appreciative, be grateful for the ability to learn why it's not working. So that way the focus isn't on what's not happening, it's focusing on how we get there. Small things. Now, I don't use these individually, I stack them. I go, oh man, the process of me becoming better, me getting stronger, smarter, sexier, whatever, is awesome because I get to build myself to understand how disciplined I am, how energetic I am in the morning, how I'm able to deal with the face of adversity and still keep going. Little things. It's the smallest things. However, that's why I say don't let it come from a feeling. Let it come from the work. Don't be obsessed. Be robotic. You don't have to be delusional. Just set it up. And then that way, it only gets better from here. Why? Because we only get better. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all next time.